Okay. Hi, how are
Hi.
you? It was great to meet you. And I suppose, first of all, I'll just say that I really enjoyed the documentary. I thought it was great.
Good, I'm glad.
And I suppose one of the questions that came up for me when I realised how long Conor had been with you was what you sort of felt was the end game when he started filming in 2010, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Oh, I had absolutely no idea what his plans were.
Yeah.
I think from the very beginning, to sort of make it easy on myself, my attitude was, it's Conor's project.
Yeah.
He can do what he wants. And I trusted Conor because I've worked with him for a long time, I know him. So I was just like, it's Conor's project. And sometimes people would ask me things about it, and I was, I don't know, it's Conor's project. So that's how I've dealt with it all along. So I had no idea what his plan was, and I never asked all the way along. But obviously, I think in the beginning, I assume his idea was a small little character documentary, and then obviously as the time went on, I could sort of get more of a sense of what he was doing, but I still never asked.
Yeah. So it didn't become invasive in any way, like it was on your terms, like you kind of...
Yeah, kind of. I mean, obviously, by the nature of it, it's going to be a bit invasive sometimes anyway.
Yeah.
But he was filming for 5 years, but there was large gaps where I wouldn't see him for months on end because, it's an expensive business and he kept running out of money. So there was long periods where I didn't see him and didn't think about it, and then there'd be another spurt where he'd be turning up to a lot of things. But Conor's generally very unobtrusive.
Yeah.
For a guy with a beard and a giant camera, he's relatively unobtrusive. So it was relatively painful.
Okay.
But I'm still glad it's finished.
Yeah. And obviously he, happened to be there for some of the major incidents in the last couple of years.
Yes.
Which, I mean, obviously for the documentary, it gave it a great narrative arc because we were able to, we had a direction that things were going in. And I suppose for me, the big thing, I suppose, about Pantygate was that it didn't really fix anything as such. I mean, the media still has this division about what they're allowed to talk about and who they have to have in the studio whenever anything is being discussed. And is that still disheartening for you, or do you feel that what happened and what happened afterwards really, made a point about it and that things will change on it? Or
I think looking back, I think a lot of good things came out of the whole Pantygate fiasco. I mean, I think it played some role in the referendum, and I'm happy about that. Yes, I agree that nothing's really changed in a sense. Although I think people are more aware of the problems and more aware of their responsibilities around things. Of course, the legislation is still the same, and this whole balance thing still allows really fringe voices to be given way much more airtime than they should have. But at least people are more aware of those issues and more aware of those problems. What the solution is to them, and well, that's a whole other thing. But I do think that Pantygate shone a light on those problems, and I'll take some comfort in that.
Yeah, and I think again, you're being very modest, and I think that comes across very much in the film, in the documentary, as well as you're very humble about what your effect was. And really, you started that conversation a year before it had to happen, for the legislation. And
but I'm not being humble. I'm being honest, because it was just an accident.
Yeah, well,
I didn't plan, this thing. I wish I was that, Machiavellian and, able to see into the future, but I just stumbled through.
Very well, as it happens. But and in the documentary as well, the support you have from friends and family comes across very strongly, and it would be their opinion too that you would be more humble than you should probably be about your effect on things, and I mean the film really showed how much support there is around you, and
I'm very lucky. I have a really good family, and they've always been very supportive, and I work with lots of good people too. Sometimes people accuse me of having talents, and I'm not really sure, but I think maybe my one talent might be that I recognize people who are good at things, and I work with the good ones.
Yeah, well, collaboration is always very important. And all of that sort of made you the voice of the nation in a way. When everything came about during the legislation being passed and things and the vote, did that? I mean, I'm sure it is a burden in a sense, even though it is obviously a great thing too. Has it affected your show? Have you felt that it's affected who you were before that? Like that you can't do that anymore. You can't just have your Sunday night.
Kind of.
You know.
I know that now people take everything I say so seriously, and they'll pour over everything, and it's then easier to upset people. And so I do have sometimes in the live show or whatever, I'm writing a gag, and oh God, can I say, can Panty, the LGBT rights warrior, can she say that? And I would never have had that thought 3 years ago. So it's something I've become a little aware of, but I've also had to make a conscious decision to try and not care about it, because I am an entertainer as well. So I try not to be affected by that too much.
Okay. So yeah, I suppose that's all my questions on it. I'm really best of luck with everything, and
Thanks so much.
I'm really glad that this documentary was made, and I think it really showcases an awful lot that needs to be shown. And
well,
thank you.
I'm glad it's finally out there. Yeah.
And it's done.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Rory.
you.